book clubbers. We're going to be chatting about Halloween Night by R.L. Stine. Hi guys, how are you all doing? This was a crazy ride. Right, so we've got some brilliant guests joining us to talk about Halloween Night, and I'm sure that we'll talk about Brenda a lot probably. Rachel, just add Rachel in. Rachel, there we go. Right, everyone's joined by magic soon, hopefully. Hi, Clay.
Hey!
Woohoo! Look at you.
Hello.
Is it Elvira or is it Rachel? Oh, and we're just missing Brian. I'm sure I have pressed the button, but I'll just double check. You guys okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, how fabulous do you guys look? Brilliant. Thank you for dressing up. Brian, I can't look at you seriously.
I can't either. Oh, God.
That's hilarious. I love it. Oh, well, thank you for joining us. It's the evening time here, but I know it's afternoon time where you guys are. So I've got all the spooky vibes with the darkness on my side. So woohoo! So yes, we're going to be chatting about Halloween Night by R.L. Stine. Crazy ride this was. Woo! So joining us is the brilliant Brian McAuley. Brian McAuley's debut novel was Curse of the Reaper, and he's absolutely slaying it with Candy Cane Kills 1 and 2 out soon.
Thank you.
I can't wait, Brian. I'm so excited. Excited. And then we've got Rachel, who joined us for a Point Horror Book Club before. So Rachel is the author of Black Sheep, Such Sharp Teeth, Cackle, The Return, and most recently, So Thirsty, which has just been bumped up my TBR, and I've just started it and loving it so far. Ooh, can't wait. And then we've got the brilliant, is it Clay McLeod&Brian or is it a superhero? Oh dear. So Clay, if you don't know, is the author of so many novels. So What Kind of Mother, Ghost Eaters, Whisper Down the Lane. I could carry on listing them all. And then we've got a new novel coming out, Wake Up and Open Your Eyes, coming out in January, which I'm super excited for. I don't know whether we can actually hear Clay or not, or whether it's...
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah,
Wait,
I can hear you now.
yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just having fun listening to everybody. I didn't know.
Listening to
Verbal
my
response.
Brummy accent. So, is this the first time reading a point horror for you, Clay? I know Rachel read one with me last year, which was Prom Date, I think it was.
Yeah.
Is this your first time, Clay?
Yeah, do I get points taken off if I admit that it is my first?
No, not at all. We like introducing people to point horror. What I want to start with.
Yeah, this was, I mean, what, book number 38 or 40? Like, there's a gazillion of them, I know, but
Yeah.
it seems like are you doing these all in chronology, or are you
No, we're
cherry-picking?
just picking here and there because they're kind of all standalone stories.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, apart from there is a Halloween Night 2, believe it or not, after that cliffhanger ending ish. So yeah, and it does follow on straight away. So probably like with series, I am doing them in order, but the rest, yeah, just free for all. And how about you, Brian? You're a big fan of Goosebumps, aren't you? So is this your first point horror?
Oddly, yes. Even though Goosebumps was my jam as a kid, I didn't really graduate up to the real good teen drama that these books offer. It's pretty shocking stuff. I can't wait to dig into it.
And this was our second one, wasn't it, Rachel? Because we did Prom Date, I think it was, by Diane Ho.
Yeah, so I was expecting a lot more murder. because in Prom Date, they just start murdering people right off the bat.
Yeah.
And so I kept waiting for the murder, and I was waiting a long, long time.
Yeah, we did have to wait a very long time. And Emma asked Brian, is it a lobster or a chicken?
It is a lobster. Well, no, it's not. It's a squid. These are my
yeah, I see
tentacles.
it. You make a very good squid.
Rachel, you don't have to make that face of abject disgust.
Oh dear. So, oh look. Oh dear. I don't know what's more terrifying, to be honest.
He's a lobster luchador. Is that what's happening?
Oh my God, that would make an amazing luchador, right? The lobster.
Yeah.
The lobstador.
The lobster door. I love it. So there will be spoilers ahead for Halloween night. Probably straight off the bat, because how can we not spoil it? It's just, yeah, crazy. So if you've got any comments in the comment section, just pop them up and I'll try and read them out. I can't speak tonight. I promise I haven't been drinking. It's this face paint. So the tagline for this one is "This party is a killer," which I think is a different tagline to what you guys had on your copies.
Yeah.
It says trick or treat. The trick is not to die.
And it drives me crazy because there's an ellipses after trick or treat, and then there's another ellipses here, but it's got 4 periods, and I can't stand for that.
Because it's an ellipses, and then it's like, no, it's over.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know why they changed it on the UK. I mean, and I think the US cover is a lot better than the one they did in the UK for this one.
But I feel
so
like the
cool.
UK tagline is more appropriate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no trick-or-treating. And honestly, there's not a lot of Halloween.
No, just the lead up to Halloween.
No.
And carving pumpkins, and that's
Rachel,
right.
I'm getting the sense that you didn't appreciate this
No.
book.
I have a lot to say about it. A lot to say.
She's ready. Right.
And what's hilarious is I read this on the plane. I was coming back. I was traveling, and I had like a notebook and like tabs, and so the people at the airport were probably like, "Oh, what is she doing?" And I was like taking notes on this like point horror book, like studious notes and thinking about things and like reacting to myself. They were probably like, "Okay."
Like, move a seat away.
Yeah. I was doing like my thesis on Halloween night, but I could write a thesis because I have a lot to say in terms of feminism, and
Ooh, we'll get into it then. Larissa said, I like to think Clay is a pink ranger. Yeah. And Dustin says, Shelley, are you a puppy pumpkin? I don't really know what I am. I was just like experimenting, and this is what happened. I was like, oh, I put a dab here, dab there. Yeah, and this is what happened. I thought, oh, well, I'll go with it. Yeah, I haven't been drinking. It's the face paint is my new excuse. Yeah, definitely. Oh dear. And Sharon said, that's true. For a Halloween book, there isn't a lot of Halloween. Definitely. So basically, wow, where to start with this book? So I'll do a little breakdown of what it was about, or I'll try to. So Brenda and her friends are plotting a Halloween party with homemade, terrifying Halloween costumes, including a clown, a monk, and the most terrifying of all Halloween costumes, a peacock. Totally scared. But that's the least of Brenda's worries and woes. Hayley, Brenda's cousin, is staying whilst her parents are sorting out her divorce. And she's pinched Brenda's room. She's pinched her Luke Perry poster. Don't do that. And she set her sights on Brenda's boyfriend Ted too. And Ted seems to like a truck full of buns, which I'll get to in a little bit, and a hard gear stick.
He's a
So,
real prize, that Ted.
Oh.
Real prize.
such a catch. So basically, Hayley snogs Ted under Brenda's bedroom window, and this makes Brenda mad enough to plot revenge. And Brenda means business. She means murder. But not any old murder, a Halloween murder, you know, because you've got to have a Halloween murder. So whilst writing an assignment with her two friends, Dina and Tracy, about the fictional murder of her cousin, Brenda convinces her friends that the murder should become a reality for real, especially after some strange goings on, like blood-written messages and meat in her bed, like gone off meat with maggots. So who could it be behind all of this? And is Brenda really going to go through with her revenge plot? Dum, dum, dum. Whoa, a lot goes on considering not much goes on in this book. So Brenda, should we start with Brenda? What did you think? Go, Rachel.
I have names for everybody. Okay, ooh. I have Sad Salty Brenda. I have Poor Tall Dina. I have,
yeah,
and I say this with love, Slut Queen Hallie. Love Hallie. I'm very pro Hallie. Sorry for the language. Kind of cunty Tracy. Like, she's just like kind of cunty all of the time. And then dumb mid Noah. Because like yellow sideburns, like every time they describe him, I'm like, why would you steal this boyfriend? He's like absolutely mid. And then she goes up to and confronts him about like, oh, he sees, so he's flirting with Hallie in the hall and Brenda sees him and then he like tries to go up and he was like, what does he say? He was like, oh, we're in the same math class. We were just kidding around about math. It's like,
no one kids around.
All right, dude.
Math.
Like,
Yeah.
Honestly, take him, Hallie. Anyway, so I have dumb mid Noah, and then I have fuckboy Ted, who is my biggest issue. The biggest thing my biggest problem with this book, my biggest problem with Brenda is like, you should want to kill Ted.
Yes, I agree.
Hallie did you a favor, taking him off your hands, proving to you that he's absolute trash. Why are we not trying to kill Ted?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I was like, I don't get it.
I thought maybe that was going to be where the book was heading, was like, okay, we're teeing up that Ted obviously is the one needs to die, and that will be part of the twist, as this was an elaborate plot to kill Ted. But and also I love your nicknames, because I did 90s fan casting in my head based on the names. So Hallie was Halle Berry, and Brenda was Shannon Doherty because she was Brenda in 90210. Ted was Keanu Reeves because of Bill and Ted, which is unfortunate because I don't like to see Keanu in that light.
Honestly, if it was Keanu, I would forgive a lot more. I'd be like, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'll take you back.
Yeah, he's forgivable. And then obviously Randy, the punk brother, was Jamie Kennedy, Randy from Scream, who I totally fell for that red herring. I was like, this is a middle grade book. I'm ahead of the twist. Randy was listening through the vent. Randy's the killer. And I was like, oh, that was a red herring. And I just fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
I knew it was, okay. So I'm skipping around. But
no, it's fine.
So I knew it was Poor Tall Dina from the beginning. Poor Tall Dina looks like a boy, can't get a date, wants to be a monk for Halloween. She's like, I can't get a date. I'm going to dress like a monk, which I thought it was so fun. My favorite thing was Brenda's comment was, that sounds like a comfortable costume. Anyway, but
no.
There's a throwaway line on page 21 that never gets brought up again, that I swore was like gonna like be the point of the book, was that Dina used to go out with Ted.
Yeah. Right.
They dropped that in there. And then they're like, oh yeah, her parents got divorced and she had a total, basically like, divorce is the real enemy in this novel. Yes. They're like custody battles and divorce, and as the 90s, people were freaking out about the nuclear family downfall. But anyway, so they never bring it up again. But Brenda's all bitching that Hallie stole her boyfriend. Well, you stole Poor Tall Dina's boyfriend.
Poor Tall Dina.
I honestly, and then like Brenda was just like, they were like, oh yeah, Dina went through the same thing. I totally forgot. And they were just like,
Yeah.
anyway, so
They were
I did.
so horrible,
Yeah.
so horrible to each other.
I had that note too that divorce is the real villain of this book. But I love the
Yeah.
scene when Dina's like, yeah, my dad left behind this brown hooded bathrobe, and I'm like, no wonder his wife divorced him. He was like moping around the house with a hooded brown bathrobe, just like
You guys are so mean to Dina. I loved Dina.
I love Dina too. I'm very pro
I'm
Dina.
very
Yeah,
pro
I
Dina.
love Dina.
I mean, I guess my question is, from the get-go, I was like, oh, Dina is the culprit. Dina's the one that did it. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. If I know this now, if I know this on page 25, then clearly R.L. Stine is throwing Dina out there as the red herring so that when the real culprit kind of reveals themselves, I will have assumed that it was Dina all along. And then it gets to the end and you're like, no, it's Dina. And then there's this like, like, so maybe, I don't know if there's like this kind of savvy, adult reader versus the perhaps not as savvy teen reader who gets kind of like sideswiped by Randy or any of the others. Like, is it just like you put it out there kind of like, in the headlights of like, this is, don't look over here, but yeah, it's Dina.
yeah. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
Billy Loomis trick from Scream of like make him the immediate first red herring, and then it's actually him in the end anyway.
Yeah, you have to put it out there and then take it away and then put it like just constantly like, I'm not the killer, I'm not, and then it's like, no, I did it.
I mean, one of the things that I remember from when I've read this book a few times, but picking it back up a few years later now, I remember who the killer was straight away, like even before I started reading. So it must have been really like etched on my brain from all those years ago. But I did read back on a blog post that I wrote about, say, 9 years ago, and I'd had put on there, oh, I knew it was Dina. So somewhere along the line, it's just like etched in my brain. But she's such a good character. I mean, she puts working at the vets to good use, doesn't she?
I know that's always a clear indicator. Like if someone's working at a vet, they have access to things. They're up to no good. Like I just rewatched May, which is an incredible film, but yeah, the vet stuff comes into play. But it's interesting as you were talking about, Rachel, of like there's not a lot of killing, but it feels like it's structured like a slasher, but instead of Hallie slashing people, she's just like messing with these boys, and that's like the structure of like the slasher.
You get yours.
Like,
You get yours, Hallie.
Right? That's the
like
body count. We love it.
Yeah, get yours. You're young, you're blonde. She's walking around all smug with her lipsticked lips and her like
Blonde
she's going after
hair.
all these boyfriends. Yeah.
Yeah.
My biggest gasp in this book was when she's in the car and like Ted's teaching her how to drive and then her driver's license falls out. I was like, oh,
Love it.
oh my God. And she's got such game.
Yeah.
Like good for like I was all for Slut Queen Hallie, like doing her thing. Like get it, girl.
Especially as a
What
new
are we
girl.
gonna do about Brenda?
Wait, I just saw a question in the chat, or a comment that I had as well about the parents. And how
the
I thought
parents.
that was also going to come back because somebody wrote see you Halloween in blood in their child's room, and they were like, yeah, we called the guy to redo the wallpaper, but he's not here yet, so I guess they're going to have to sleep there again. And I was like, they must be involved if they're that not concerned about this.
And they were like, we probably should have called the cops, but we didn't. And they're always
I was like, harsh. That was harsh.
and like they're very I mean, Brenda does suck, so like I get it, but they're very like Brenda's like, I'm having problems, and they're just like, shut up, Brenda.
Oh,
I mean,
dear.
is there anybody in this book that has any redeeming qualities? Like, is there anyone that you would actually say this is an
there's
innately
one.
good person?
There's one. So at the very end, when they're like, Brenda's dead in this gorilla costume, which no teenage girl would dress up no teenage girl would dress up like a monk, a gorilla, a clown to a costume. Like the one girl who was like, I'm dressed like Cindy Crawford. I was like, yes, accurate.
Yeah.
But there's one girl where like everybody's like, you killed her, and one girl goes, did anyone call 911? That's the hero of this novel who's like, what the fuck? What are you talking? Like, she's dead. Did anybody call 911? That's the hero of this novel.
Yeah.
I don't know who she is, but
we needed more.
Yeah,
Yes.
I was going to say Mrs. Ryland, the high school teacher who gave an assignment to plot murder.
No! She should be fired. Also, they're so mean about her. They're like, yeah, that's a cool assignment, but too bad her like pants don't fit. I was like, fuck these girls.
Yeah. I know, they were so mean. They were so mean.
Awful.
Oh dear.
I mean, is that just R.L. Stine? Like, is R.L. Stine a misanthrope? Like, does he like people? Like, are any of his characters in any of his books ever morally centered in a way that feels like, this is a good person?
He does write, I have to admit, whether intentionally or not, I'm not sure, but he does write a really good, unlikable characters. Like we've read a few point horrors, like there was a guy called Chuck in The Babysitter who was just so irritating. But he wrote him so well. And then the whole of Hit and Run, I would say, is on a par with this Halloween Night book, where they're just so unlikable and they obviously all hate each other. So why are they even friends in the first place? Yeah. We will never know. So I feel like he does write a bad character quite well, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure he intentionally does that. I don't know, I might be wrong. The way it comes across.
No, you've read Halloween Night 2. Like, you've done the sequel. And not to give away spoilers too much for that one, but Dina returns. Like, she comes back, right?
I think so. From what I've read it a few years ago, but I'm sure because the back of Halloween Night 2 gives away the whole plot of Halloween Night 1 on the UK version anyway. It kind of tells you what goes on. But I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind me, but I'm sure she does come back.
I mean,
but
it just kind of blows my mind to think of, like, you know, a round 2 with Dina, and like, who is she now, like, after everything has happened and like she's you know, found guilty for being the one who kind of did all the nasty stuff.
Was the stuff that she did really that bad though? Like, what do you think? Like, was it bad?
Earned.
Yeah.
Honestly, she could have actually murdered Brenda, and she would have been justified.
I'd
be the judge
honest,
on that case, and I'd be like, "You're excused."
There were so many costume swaps that I couldn't tell you exactly who did what in the end. Anyway, I don't know if anybody was able to track.
There was like 3 Frankensteins. Was there 2 or 3 Frankensteins?
I think there was 2 in the end.
Did anybody else? Has anybody watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? They have a Halloween costume party episode, and the plot is that they're doing costume swaps, and Dee is dressed up as a peacock, and I was like, It's Always Sunny based on this book? Because what are the chances of a peacock costume swap at a Halloween party? Must have been.
It must have been. Never know. I'll just look through some comments. So Emma said, Brenda is the most irritating protagonist ever. I like that. Eddie May said, was I the only one who wanted to throat punch Brenda from the start? Brenda hates. Nerissa said, I would have thought she could have moved her Luke Perry poster unless it was in a carefully constructed shrine. Well, did anyone else think, you know, the figure that she saw at a window, the cardboard cutout? I was really hoping that was going to be like Luke Perry's face in the end, that they cut out the poster. That would be the true horror, cutting the poster. But no, he didn't go there, did he? Teddy New said the boyfriends in this were the absolute trash.
Thank you. Like, death to fuck boys. Like they were awful. And like Ted especially being like, he kept being like, he came to her. And this is, you know what? These point horror books are always exploiting my high school trauma, Jelly. Because
Yes,
we
I
listened to,
remember.
because I had a bad prom because I was dating a jerk my senior year. And he convinced me to ditch my guy friend date and go with him. And then at prom, he ditched me. And that's basically what Ted did. He was like, you have to
Yeah.
come to the dance with me. You have to come to the dance with me. And she's like, okay, I'll go with you. And then he ditched her.
Yeah, and going like kissing Buddy Haley in the corner.
Death.
Yeah, no, not a fan of Ted.
No.
Your worst nightmare said, this is one of those books where I just hated everyone. Yes, we hated everyone. Karen said, this was the first time I've audio booked a point horror and the voices were pure comedy. Can I highly recommend, especially around the costume switching explanations. So yeah, you can get the tape. I think I sent you guys the link of the audio tape.
Right.
From the 90s. It was only because I found it and I thought, oh, that'd be funny. So I had a little whiz through it, listen, and it's hilarious. Like, if you have time, it's comedy gold. They do all the voices and everything. It's just hilarious.
I mean, I thought the writing, like some of these monologues are gorgeous. Like, there's some amazing writing in here. And I mean, like, I underlined so many passages on 131, 130. Tell her what? Brenda snapped shrilly. Tell her that I don't want maggoty meat in my bed anymore. Tell her that I'd really prefer it if she kept the headless, decaying birds to herself. Tell her that I don't need her stealing my boyfriends and deliberately wrecking my car. Like, I don't know. Like, that's poetry. There's something like so amazing about like I actually want to do a read along with this book because so much of the dialogue, I mean, these people are awful people, but the dialogue is just so much fun to read out loud.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why, like, I'm a bit, for me personally, I'm a bit conflicted over Brenda because, like, she irritated me, but she gave me so many moments like that you just read out, Clay, that I was just like, she's actually quite a genius. Like, I had like a love-hate relationship with her. But yeah.
It definitely gave me like Heather's vibes in terms of the cruelty and the verbal. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Clay?
Did you guys ever see Psycho 2?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Psycho 2 is amazing because it's all about, like, we know who Norman Bates is and that he has had, like, because of Psycho 1, we all know that Norman Bates has had this kind of history. But now in Psycho 2, it's like, you know, decades later, he's released from the asylum that he's been in for however many years. He wants to kind of, like, start fresh and make a go at it. But the movie, like there are people within this community, this town, that are kind of systematically, like, making him lose his mind again. Like, they're like antagonizing him to like go, like, to snap and go crazy again, because that's what they want. And I was reading this, and like, I think a very charitable interpretation of this book is that it is a kind of psychological dismantling of Brenda, of this one character. And I if I view it through that lens, I love this book because it's, you know, it's like there's so many different threads where it's like, okay, there's all the things that are happening to Brenda. There are all the things that Brenda and Tracy and Dina are like, you know, plotting to do. And like the kind of intersection of those two things is the kind of like mystery, like who's doing what. And is there a murderer? Is there a someone out there? Like, I like on an elevated surface level, there's something really like the kind of psychology of this is exciting. And you know, I don't know if necessarily the book itself supports that thesis, but you know, when I think of it in that way, I love it. It's awesome. And I don't need death or, you know, murders, because I'm watching Brenda, this kind of Heather type, you know, slowly lose her mind, and that's pretty cool.
I feel like it's just every single thing that you could do to like drive a teenage girl out of her fucking mind. Like steal her boyfriend, steal her Luke Perry poster, like steal her room. Like, do you know how precious a room is to a teenage girl?
Yeah.
And then like have her friends and parents defending like the girl who stole her boyfriend, who was like clearly hotter than her. I loved when like Brenda was like, I don't want to be cute anymore. I was like, you and me both, girl. But like, and then like every single thing, like, and then like getting ditched at the dance, and like every single her car getting totaled. Like it was just like anything that you could do to like wreck a teenage girl's life. Like it happened in this book. So in that way, I empathize with her. But she just like her anger was misguided. Like it's not all Hallie's fault. I like when Hallie was like, "What, you don't own him?" about Noah. She was like, "That's true. Be mad at him." Okay,
But isn't that the thing? Like so many of these different kind of elements, like it's like a perfect storm of all these different things coming together. So it's not just Hallie. It's not just Dina. Like Dina is actually inspired to murder Brenda because of Brenda, not like they almost like need each other, and all of these things, this confluence of events have to have come together in order for any of this to have happened, because otherwise none of it would have happened. And I think that's, you know, like it's not two to tango. I think it's almost like three to tango. You need what Hallie's doing, what Brenda's doing, and what Dina's doing in order to like all those things are kind of completely independent of one another, and they lead to Brenda nearly losing her mind.
And even down to the parents, like the parents contribute to that as well, just being like
worst
parents.
Worst parents ever.
I do love the moment when it's connected on page 180 to 181 of Brenda piecing it together because Dina works at the vet's office and saying like, the blood on the wall, it had to be animal blood. The headless bird in the pumpkin, another animal. The chunks of rotten meat in my bed, they were dog food, spoiled dog food. And I'm like, wait, but she got animal blood and clearly killed a bird? Was that like a client's bird and decapitated it? Like, there's still some questions about
gloss over the bird decapitation. And like, I thought it was interesting because like that bird decapitation was kind of gross. I was like surprised. It was like, oh, a headless bird, its head cleanly cut off, tendons and blood vessels poking out through the open cavity of its neck. The bird's body lay smoldering, stinking beside the low I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
I was just like taken a little bit back by like how
but she still puts her hand inside to get the note that's there. Like I could not put my hand inside the pumpkin or wherever it was where that bird was to pull the note out, which has probably got like blood guts all over it. No, she still does that.
What's that game you play where you like, it's the Halloween game where you like stick your hand into the bowl and it's like, these are eyeballs, and it's like peeled grapes. This is R.L. Stine's version of that.
Yeah, definitely. So I couldn't do that. Rachel, Dustin said that you're his new favourite commentator.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm mad at Dustin because I feel like Dustin said something. What did he say? He said something like Ted wasn't that bad. What did you say, Dustin? I like saw something.
Dustin, I'm really behind on the comments, but I'll get to it. I'll see.
Dustin, what did you say? I feel like you gave Ted the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, But I still want to be your favorite, so I like it.
Well, Emma said that Ted is a prat.
Truly.
What did?
Sorry,
go ahead.
Go on, Brian. No, you go.
I just had a note about chapter 13 being very confusing. I'm curious if anybody, it was like the dream sequence at the homecoming dance.
Yeah.
The homecoming dance sequence was like, wait, is this a dream? What is happening? Is this the chapter that's trying to convince us that she's losing her mind, or am I just bad at reading what's happening here? Did anybody else?
Yeah, it was almost like Well, to be honest, it did make you picture it really well, because I could picture it like in slow motion with like a strobe effect lighting going off, with the camera in front of her and she's like
Right.
walking through and things like that. So it was described pretty well, but I was like, what is going on? I didn't have a clue.
I also love that they managed to squeeze in a homecoming dance into a Halloween book and be like, we're going to give you even more.
And give you homecoming as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what Dustin said. Like, okay, so Ted did say, like, let's keep it open before making out with Hallie again. But
Yeah, but
like,
no.
still, what a fucking dick move.
Yeah.
So Brenda's obviously still into you. Like, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. Brenda should be smarter if he's gonna like go make out with another girl while he's with you. He's not that into you. But like, I just feel like just because he charmed his, like, he just wanted to go to the dance with Brenda because Hallie was gonna go with dumb mid Noah.
Yeah.
It's classic fuckboy behavior. And
I
don't excuse it.
So
Death.
Did these boys have any agency? Like, they just seemed kind of like pinballs, like just kind of like whoa, like like horn dog meat puppets. Like they just kind of like gravitate towards
that read true to life
kind of...
to me. So I don't really know.
Oh dear. Yeah, I don't think Ted would have said that if Haley wasn't on the scene either, about open relationship.
Well, he wanted to have both cousins too. Come on, dude. Death. And then he was sick at the party. It's like you begged to come and now you have the flu.
Yes. So he didn't come to the party at the end. He was just
I did get excited when she was like, come dressed as Frankenstein. I was like, haha, she's gonna frame him for murder.
Yes.
Yeah. See, that would have been a better ending, in my opinion. I would have liked that ending, like frame Ted, get the ultimate revenge.
That would have been very satisfying if it was like, if it seemingly was about these girls going head to head, but the twist was that they were working together. That's why I was hoping was going to be the case. To frame the boy.
Yeah. I feel like there was a punch pulled at the end where, Brenda, I feel like she snaps 3 different times in 3 different places throughout the course of the book, and it's only at the end where she she solves the mystery and therefore like takes this kind of other proactive turn, which is a bit of a bummer because I did want someone to die. I did want someone to murder someone and let it be like an accident, like, oh my god, like, I thought it was going to be Brenda, but it turns out it was Hal. Like something that someone were to kind of kick the bucket and not just have a like extra padding in their gorilla suit.
Yeah.
The extra padding.
Also,
extra padding.
I just thought like the whole, like, they were like, this is such a good costume switching plan. I was like, this makes no sense. Like, this is so convoluted. Like, just poison her. And I also really liked like when they were like plotting, they were like at first Tracy was like, yeah, we'll strangle her. And then she's like, no, strangling is too good for Hallie. And I was like,
whoa.
Oh shit.
No, that
teenage girls are brutal.
That makes me, I have to read this part because it's talking about that. The costume is so thick and heavy, no one knows she's been stabbed. She's sitting in a chair, and everyone thinks she's just sitting there enjoying the party until they see this blood stain start to grow bigger and bigger. And no, how about this? The costume starts to fill up with blood. Like all of Hallie's blood pours out into the costume. And it's like a big water balloon, only it's filled with blood. That's beautiful. That's poetry. That's poetry. Yeah. That is like R.L. Stine, like Shakespeare. Like he's just that's R.L. Shakespeare. That is what this is.
R.L. Shakespeare.
My squid costume is filling up with blood right now, and it's gonna.
You know what? I like actually thought one part was like genuinely creepy was the part with the jack-o'-lantern. But like I thought that whole, it's on page 70 and 71.
Is that where she's having the dream?
Yeah, and the jack-o'-lantern starts to like turn around, but like that part like actually started to like I was like, "Oh, this is creepy." But like Brenda keeps going, "No. No." And like that kind of
Please.
like takes out all the tension of the like she just like looks at it and goes, "No." And then
No.
like it
Yeah.
starts to she's like, "No." And I was just like,
Yeah, that
that kind of like that
Mm,
kind of like for me.
yeah,
Like
that image, Rachel, like it's one that I feel like I haven't seen, oddly, in a horror movie, the simplicity of a jack-o'-lantern slowly turning to face a character was
mm,
yeah.
so good. It's creepy as hell.
yeah. Definitely. I saw that Atia had put. I remember reading this one. I was looking for more super. Oh
Is
no!
that a silver shamrock mask?
No,
No!
no, no.
No!
Please.
See you
Wow!
next Halloween.
Oh, that was like the book was brought to life then.
I know. We should just do live reenactments of this book. Rachel could just
That's
be
what
like,
we should have done.
no,
No,
please,
no. I'm not
Um,
cute. Oh, and I like when at some point like Tina or Dina or like or what Tracy or Dina was like, calm down. She goes, I can't calm down.
it was
Uh,
so dramatic, so
sad
dramatic.
salty Brenda.
So I saw Atia said that she remembered reading this one, but was looking for a more supernatural element. Do you think a supernatural element would have worked with this book? I don't think it would have. I kind of liked the way you've had all the teen drama in it. What do you think?
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
think,
so.
No.
yeah.
it's
I kind of
it's
knew just
all in
from
the
reading the,
mind. It's like we want Brenda to snap. We want her to go crazy. And I think
Yeah.
that's it's the psychology of you're just like watching this dismantling of this poor little rich girl, and I don't know, like I you just want to see her go cuckoo.
Yeah.
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 I suspected just from reading the back when it talks about how like they're planning the perfect murder. Not that they're really going to kill anybody. It's just a joke, right? Ha ha. Like I was like, okay, this is one of those prank stories, and I kind of suspected it was going to be like April Fool's Day, the 80s
Mm,
slasher, where in the end all the kills you saw were not actually kills, and it was all a big prank.
yeah.
Um, so that's why I think I was not surprised. And also this being my first point horror, I was like, I don't know if they ever really kill people in these books.
Mm,
So I wasn't
yeah.
necessarily expecting it
See, it
to
was the
have murder.
opposite for me because I read this was my second, and
Yeah.
the prom date one
Had a
was
lot of
murder
bodies.
galore.
Yeah.
It
Damn.
was just like, it was straight off the bat, like
Mm.
starting to kill people and
Off
all
the
sorts of people getting pushed off
top of the lighthouse.
lighthouses, like bloody
What?
body, like
Yeah.
on the rocks underneath. So I was like really expecting some
Yeah.
death and gore, and I was just like, where is it?
Just
Mm.
headless
Prom
It
bird.
was the
date,
bird head.
honestly, after reading this one, I'm like, prom date is kind of a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I highly
Yeah.
recommend it. It's very
It
good.
was very good. All the slasher vibes with it, wasn't it? Very
Yes.
slashery.
And there's like,
Yeah.
there's like an interlude of like the killer, and you don't know
Yeah.
who it is, but they're having like a inner dialogue in like italics,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
so
I said like,
sold.
Very
it's
dramatic.
so good.
And the ending is really
Oh,
good as well.
yeah, that's actually like very good.
Yeah.
So I think I had a little bit
Definitely.
more high hopes for this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Wait,
don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it, but
since we're talking about endings, can we please come back to like the final page? Because
Yes.
especially the final exchange, Hallie sighed and gazed toward the cluttered living room. Let's clean up tomorrow, she said. Brenda laughed. I think we're starting to understand each other really well. And I turned the page, I was like, that's the final beat? Like it felt like a freeze frame sitcom moment of like like what? They just had somebody frame
I
like entrapment. They set up an entrapment for Dina to get arrested for murder, and then are just like, now we're buds. Like what?
I really
Best
like if you
friends.
take it back a few sentences. I like it when the police were very gentle and understanding with Dina. Hallie said quietly, staring into her cup. She'll get the help she needs, Brenda said. she raised her mug and held it toward her cousin. Happy Halloween. And I just like that, like, and then like before that, like Brenda's like, I feel so bad. And Hallie's just like, ow, this hot chocolate is too hot. Like they're just like,
Just don't
it's very, they're
care.
just like, their friend just got arrested for like attempted murder, and they're just like having hot cocoa and like she'll get the help she needs.
Oh
Yeah.
well, never
Let's clean up
mind.
tomorrow.
Let's move on.
You're right, it is very sitcom-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't
And like,
care.
I don't think Dina would have killed anybody if they hadn't like set up this ruse to push her to murder. Like she was
No.
inspired by the fact that Brenda came up with the plan that was actually all along the plan to set up Dina. Like, extra cruel about that. I also do love, like, as you read that she's staring into her cup, which to me, like, the subtext there is like she doesn't actually believe what she's saying. She's like, she'll be fine.
Oh dear, yeah. That ending did make me laugh because they just don't give a shit. They're just like, oh well, oh look at all this mess from the party. And how did they like? I mean, I know you can get some like serious good fake blood, but this was the 90s, and like this was like a gel blood thing. Like, how did people actually think that was real blood? And like, how did it get bigger? It doesn't make sense.
Don't
water
think too much about it. Was what we're going with.
Yeah, if you're not stealing animal blood from the vet's office, where are you getting it from?
Well, yeah, exactly. Eddie Ray said, because I'm really behind on the comments, but Rachel over here preaching the truth on these ass clowns. Yeah. Larissa said it's that short brown hair that was her downfall. Yeah.
Oh,
Dina's
for
downfall. Was it
her,
Dina?
her boy hair. Yeah, she's like, my hair's too short and I look like a boy. And then they were honestly, Dina, like at some point, like Ted was like, she should play basketball. And like Brenda was like, she doesn't even like basketball. It's just like they're just like everybody's roasting poor tall Dina.
And the thing is,
do you think if Dina had better friends,
she would have been
like none of this would have
Yeah.
happened?
Her friends stopped talking to her during her parents' divorce.
Yeah.
She was like, Brenda was like, I thought you just wanted to be alone. Her friends just like ditched her during a very difficult time. During, according to this book, the most difficult time anybody could ever have.
Yeah. And then also, if you think about it as well, the whole plot of this is before Dina was out, like the whole plot of switching costumes. Like if Dina was so tall, like people would know it was Dina. Like you just like, yeah, I'm thinking too hard about this, but it just wouldn't work. Like how did it even work with the costume changes? Like surely
I couldn't track any of it. I was like, I'm just gonna wait until the end. I'm not even gonna try to follow this anymore.
I don't think it made sense.
No.
And I don't think like when Brenda was like, the like timeline of when they started to plot and when Dina got inspired and when Brenda knew that she was figured out it was Dina and was trying to trick Dina, that whole timeline, I was like, I could try to piece it together, but I don't think that it
Dina was always there. She was always like in the room, like looking out the window, kind of like fiddling with her shoes or her clothes or something. But she was always listening and absorbing, like everything that was happening in the room. She was there the whole time. And I think that like it just goes to show that like when you treat your friends like poop, they will try to murder you.
Also, I think it's really, really funny how they were plotting Hallie's death with her within earshot, and then we're like, she found out.
Oh my God.
And especially knowing about the vents as well.
I just feel
it's the whole Chekhov's air vent thing. Like if you introduce an air vent in Act 1, like someone's going to be listening in Act 2. It's just, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
And I just like, I don't know. I felt like they were like, it made me feel like I was like, I would be so much better at plotting a murder than these people. Like, I just like, it made me feel very twisted. I was like, well, obviously you wouldn't do that. You have to be way more careful. You have to do like, I was like, it's like these teenage girls and like the husband in any true crime drama, like true crime doc that you watch. You're just like, what the fuck were you
Yeah.
thinking?
I feel like this is
Get it
it's the
together.
new it's
Have
the
you
new
ever done
phrase
like
for like, you know, like jumping the shark, but like when you botch a murder plot, it's called stabbing the gorilla. Like they really
You
stabbed
really
the gorilla
stabbed the
on that
gorilla
one.
here.
Rachel, you should
Oh,
totally do like a revamp of the point horror, like the kind of like R.L.
yeah.
Stine, like like you need to do a YA series.
Mm.
Where it's just
Yes.
like
And the first book has to be Death to Fuck Boys.
Oh, that's got to
these
be the title.
these dudes are mid and they should be stabbed.
Fuck boy
Oh,
mid massacre.
Thank you. That's a great mid fuckboy massacre.
Mid fuck boy massacre. That's it. It sells itself,
That's
you know.
it.
Oh,
Yep,
That's it.
that's my future. Thanks.
Oh.
And I will dress up like this for every book event. My author photo will be like in my Elvira costume.
Oh, inspired by book club. April said she needed a full flow chart of who dated who and who switched costumes. Teddy said the switching of costumes had me going back to reread parts. I was like Brian. Emma said, was the dad in a cult in his brown robe, so the monk's robe? Maybe.
yeah, I've definitely never not seen like a brown hooded bathrobe on sale at Bed Bath and Beyond, but
Can imagine it. Justin said, and in the end, Ted didn't even show up after all that fuss, and he didn't bother to tell anyone except that one guy. Yeah, that's so true.
I also don't understand, like, him and Noah were like beating the shit out of each other, and then they were like looking at that Corvette at the mall 2 days later. And like, maybe that's just like a dude thing where like they're like, we're like beating the shit out of each other and now we're cool.
Yeah.
But
that's happened between Clay and I once. We got into a huge fisticuffs, and then there was a cool car, and we were like, "It's all right, bro."
Yeah. Look at this car. Also, I liked Brenda was like, Noah's too short to drive a Corvette. I was like, that's roast his ass, girl.
That was too short.
He can't reach the pedals.
Has there ever been a point horror book from the dude's perspective, like a Noah or a Ted like character, where they're like, "Dude, bro, like, has there ever been one?"
There's been a male perspective with the yearbook by Peter Lerangis.
Okay.
But it was more of a serious male perspective, not like a fuckboy male perspective. But it would be so cool though to have
A fuckboy POV would be kind of like, like chapter 1, dude, bro, what? Dude.
Did you see Hallie at lunch today?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
look at that
dude.
truck with the buns on it.
Do you think I'm going to reach those pedals? You know, that kind of thing.
I have to wear lifts because I can't reach the pedals, bro.
Got some sweet new Skechers to reach the pedal.
Well, you know, Ted wanted an open relationship, so maybe there was a thing going on there. You just don't know.
That I would read. That would have been a twist I would have appreciated.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you imagine if there was like an epilogue from like Noah or Ted's perspective, where it's like the day after all of this happened, and like, you know, Dina is off at the mental asylum, or, you know, getting the help that she needs, and that like Ted's like it's like the apology, like the morning after apology, where it's like, I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you and support you in your time of need, and I want you to know that I love you and that I'll be there for you forever.
Oh.
Now I'm just
No.
picturing.
You didn't take it?
No. But now I'm just picturing
Next.
Dina. I'm picturing Dina at the asylum with Dr. Loomis from Halloween, being like, she had the shortest hair, the devil's hair.
Oh dear. I really wanted an epilogue from Dina's perspective though, right at the end. That would have just been so cool. That's what we needed.
Poor tall Dina.
Poor tall Dina. With her short brown hair. Caroline said, I thought Dina was too obvious, suspicious from the start, 100%. Justin said the parents sucked. It was obvious Haley was horrible in any regard. Oh. Marzipan Pony said, I see point horror parents are at it again, being the worst in the world. Definitely. Yeah, they're always horrible. I did like a real thing of all the excuses they ever come up with in like point horror to get rid of the parents, and like one of them shipped them off to a cult. This one, they're just present but awful. They're like, yeah, very creative. I've noticed Sharon put the brother sucked too. So we haven't mentioned, is it Randy?
Randy.
I liked
Randy,
him.
he was great.
10-year-old.
All they wanted to do was play Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
And no one would play with him, although at the end I'm sure someone did it right. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Might have that wrong.
Dino.
That's why I wanted him to be the killer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be so cool.
Yeah, he's like, if somebody had just played Prince of Persia with me, I wouldn't have had to stab the gorilla.
Yes.
Oh my God! If he was the water balloon gorilla, if he was the one murdered, that would be like he was somehow in the gorilla costume and like Dina, like
Yeah.
I just wanted like you know.
Oh, that would have been quite good actually. I would have been down for that.
But he was the only like of all the characters, of all the like bigger characters, not the girl who's like, did anyone call fucking 911, you psychos? Other than her, Randy was probably the next like most
the
character that you could root for the most.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have wanted him to die.
Oh, bless him. He was only just he just wanted
Randy.
to play.
Future fuckboy.
Don't say that about Randy, but you're probably right.
No.
You're probably right. So like, do you want to come over and watch me play Prince of Persia?
A vintage game console. Sharon said 90s girls' Halloween costumes were always a sexy witch or a sexy cat.
Yeah, not fucking monks and clowns and gorilla. No way Slut Queen Hallie would ever be dressing up in a gorilla costume.
That whole scene when she finds the gorilla costume though and bursts into like the dining area where they're eating dinner and like climbs
holding
on
a
the
knife.
table.
Yeah.
But there's like a page break, isn't there? There's like something bursts into the door.
Like a chapter,
Page break.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next chapter. Oh, it's just Ali. Yeah. Larissa said the characters in Hit and Run are worse. Worse than this one. Yeah, they all hate each other. Your Worst Nightmare said some absolute classic R.L. Stine, but it was all a dream in this one too. Sharon Joy Reid says, does anyone actually die in the next one? That I can't remember, I'll be honest. But we'll read it and then we'll have to
I feel like I need the continuation. I need to know how what happens with Dina, like when she comes back.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems so I don't know. All bets are off.
Speed Ray Chick said, I don't fancy maggots in my bed. Yeah. What else we got?
Did she feel
Heather vibes.
She felt the maggots on her back, right? Like she had the kind of like maggoty, like the ooh, there's something. Like did
I think
she
felt
it?
the meat. I think she felt the wet meat.
It was like she felt moist.
Surely
like there was like a little.
She squashed them though, right? The maggots.
It was
like
squishy.
Yeah.
And spoiled dog food.
Yeah. Ugh. And how did she not smell it? Like, surely if it's spoiled dog food. See what? Yeah. Thinking too much. Stop thinking,
because
Shelley.
Brenda is like, she's slowly kind of like, it's the downward spiral of her sanity. Like we're kind of catching her at this time where she's like descending, like she's already on her way. That like she's not worried. She's not smelling.
Her sense of smell has been compromised by her altered mental state.
Oh dear. Eddie May said about the excerpt that you read out, Clay. Hallie crying, "What did I ever do to you?" Brenda's like, "Well, here's your list."
Oh my God.
Yeah. Marzipan Pony said bird decapitation or open library failed me this month and I couldn't find a copy, so I see I missed quite a bit in this book. Oh, you can listen to it on the original audio tape. It's an experience. Yeah, Caroline said the maggot meat was too much. Yeah. That was right there. Larissa said they were all just terrible. Never date in a Stine world. Yeah, we're not gonna. Definitely not. Emma said not allowed to say the word that starts with a P and ends with an O. The film of the same name. Ooh. Oh, because I just got my wrist slapped. Oh, so sometimes when people put comments up, so I think she means psycho. And she must have put that and it like booted her out of the chat. Yeah, because
Wow.
because Instagram. Justin said if Brenda would have stopped playing victims from the get-go, her boy troubles and her friend cousin troubles would have resolved way soon. Now Brenda's her own worst enemy. But I saw something that you put, Rachel, about if they just communicated in the first place.
I mean, I don't expect teenagers to have great communication skills, but like a lot could have been solved if poor tall Dina was just like, it really hurt my feelings that you weren't there for me when my parents got divorced. And if Brenda said, Hallie, what were you doing with Ted? Instead of just being like, she's stealing my boyfriend.
Brenda,
I don't know.
So true.
I've done a lot of work in thinking on our relationship, and I just want to say I'm willing to put in the time and the effort to make this work.
My therapist thinks I'm self-sabotaging.
Being honest here with you, and I want to lay down a foundation for it. So I want to be first your friend and then your lover.
But I don't think we should be exclusive at this point because I'm not ready for that kind of. I care about you too much to
Care about you.
Oh dear. April said that's why I enjoyed The Bride. Oh yes, I forgot about that. We read The Bride and it was like girl power against the dude in the book. You'd probably like that, Rachel, I think.
Sounds like it'd be up my alley.
It was, I forgot about that one. And Larissa said they probably should have just done their actual homework essay.
It took them fucking forever. They were like, let's think about it. And then they didn't do any work on it. And I was like, your procrastination is stressing me out.
Yeah, now I'm picturing like Mrs. Ryland getting this story at the end and being like, who the fuck is in what costume? These kids don't know how to tell a fucking story. What?
What I was confused about is, did they turn it in? Because like, why would you still do that? Like the murder, if you, like, you're obviously going to get caught. You made this your assignment and you turned it into your teacher. I was confused.
Can you imagine if Brenda got like an S, like, failed it or something? She'd be like, well, actually, I had experience.
This is actually an essay. It's not.
Dustin said, we really need to have Stine on one of these chats, Shelley. It's not through lack of trying. I've tried so hard, but he doesn't really seem to like to acknowledge the point horrors. Fear Street and Goosebumps very much, but with the point horrors, he's like, so
his loss.
I don't know why. Yeah, but I'd still keep trying. I'm like a stalker. Maybe we can inundate his email with requests, Justin said. Maybe if Hallie had been possessed by her parents' dead marriage. Oh dear. Justin says, try some Richie Tankersley Cusick. Yeah, I think she's the best point horror books. Yeah, definitely. Emma said, I do not like it, that it was all a joke tragic ending, or it was all a dream, or in the protag's head. Yeah, definitely not. And Larissa said that's how Stine always ends stuff. It's his staple. So yeah, he tends to always end, especially the point horrors. He tends to always end it like that. Melina said Hallie and Brenda at the end came across as quite unhinged. Yes, definitely. Dustin said if this was all set up for Dina, then why tell Ted to dress up like Frankenstein? Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plot hole.
That's why I was like, I don't know when the timeline was of like Dina deciding to. She's like, I was inspired by the murder plot,
Right.
and then Brenda was like, I did the murder plot to set you up because I knew that you were fucking with me. And I was like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
But
No.
I was like, well.
Your worst nightmare said, yeah, and Dina kept trying to dissuade them from the plan at the beginning. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, Lisa said if you start putting the plans under microscope, nothing's going to make sense. Melina said, controversial question, but did Stine have an editor to question his plot holes? We don't know. We'll have to ask him if we get him on. Oh no,
maybe
then
not.
he'll probably block
Probably,
me then,
yeah. Just skip that question.
Yeah. Sharon said the use of the vent in the bedroom was hilarious. Just skip through some. Cool Waiting by R.L. Stine. Oh god, that book. I haven't brought myself to do that one yet. It's awful. It's so bad.
Wow.
Oh dear. Yeah. Scott said even the fight the Foot Boys had was mid. Yes, they had like a fisticuff fight, didn't they? Yeah.
And these girls, they're getting all twisted out of shape about these.
Yeah. Yeah, Cool Waiting is worse than this one, definitely. Stine's Blind Date. Oh, so Stine's Blind Date book is a male point of view and has an absolutely iconic conclusion. Ooh. So we didn't get that as a point horror over here, but I know you can get it, so maybe we'll have to do that one. Yeah. Let me see what else I've got. Oh, Marzipan Pony said, tall girls get no love, sigh. Aww.
Models.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I say poor tall Dina. I'm 5'3". I wish I were tall.
I wish I was tall. I'm 5'4", so I'm not much tall. Yeah, little. Well, my husband's tall. He's like over 6 foot, so I'm always like looking up. Dustin said Randy was basically the same as Carly Beth's brother from The Haunted Mask.
Ooh.
With the goosebumps. Yeah. Speedway Shit said I like Randy. Hey, Candy Cane Man, awesome writer, someone put.
Oh.
Clay is just getting closer and closer to the camera.
I know. I'm like, what's going on? Scott said if I Brian, that eye then was like oh, I can't get closer. That's as close as I can get. Oh, my life, scared. Scott said, if I remember right, in the sequel, Dina and Haley become besties.
Oh, I like that.
Just pulling up like the Google description, it does say that Brenda gets persuaded to take part in a Halloween revenge prank and soon realizes that she's never going to leave the terror of Halloween night behind. So how does she get into another prank? Come on, girl.
We're going to have to do the sequel now. Yeah, Speedway Chick said we'll have to try and read a Fear Street, get Stine that way. I'm doing a Fear Street next month. Clay, you're scaring the crap out of me. Marzipan Pony said, we all know that Bob famously hates editing. Yes. And I got to the end of the comments. Yay, I got very behind. A round of applause for me. Oh, so guys, thank you so much for like indulging me and reading this. Like, honestly, I knew it would be a bit of a like fun one to read. That's why I wanted to do it, and I wanted to see what you thought. You're making me laugh. So thank you guys, and for dressing up. You all look fabulous.
Oh, were we
Like,
supposed to dress up?
well, I thought this was just your normal look, to be
Yeah.
honest.
My Sunday's best.
Oh, and thanks to everyone in the comments who put fab comments up. Sorry, I got a little bit behind, but yes, thank you for chatting with me.
Yay.
And we'll have to do the second one like together, and just to see, because I just need to see your reaction for it.
I really want to read
know.
it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm deeply invested in Brenda's journey now.
And Clay actually got another book, didn't you, Clay, originally?
Yes,
So
I did.
you got the Fear Street Halloween. Was it Halloween party?
I think it was Halloween party, yeah.
Yeah, so you got a free book there, but that one is a good one. I think you'd like that one.
I support all of you guys on all of your endeavors, and I just want to say that if you need someone to talk to at any point,
This is
just know that I'm
triggering.
here.
This is triggering, Clay.
I'll be here for you.
Triggering.
If you need a shoulder to cry on, just know that I'm here, brah.
Thank you, Clay.
You're welcome. I've done a lot of work. I've looked inwards, and I've seen that I can improve.
Oh, see, we do get good things on this chat. Oh, well, thanks, guys. I'll let you go and get on with your day. And thanks for taking the time.
Bye. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Woo.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all. Happy Halloween.
Bye. Woo.